Just do like really weird smiles at the camera.
Well, what's those dance or like?
The name. No, do not name that while I intro. Hey guys, welcome to Rewrite, the show where we take bad movies or just movies that didn't live up to our expectations and try to make them a little bit better. We give critiques that we think could make them a little bit better and to show you how we would go about it. I am this week's host, Trent Howell. To my left is James.
I'm James Gilbert. I'm an artist, love movies. I've always loved writing stories and making fun videos and films and stuff. You can see a lot of my stuff here on this social media links and down below.
To my right is Daniel.
Hi guys, I'm Daniel. I'm here for a good time. I'm here to, prove my point. School, I don't know. Hi.
And like I said previously, my name is Trent Howell, and I am a slightly sick film boy who is still recovering, so I'm gonna be all sniffly the show. We're gonna dive in by. I'm curious, what is your guys' favorite movie that depicts the Hulk? Just in general, it doesn't have to be a standalone movie. Just what has your favorite on-screen depiction of him?
It's the old TV show count too?
Yeah.
The Lou Ferrigno one?
Yeah.
Okay, probably not. I've never seen that one
Okay.
actually. Not very much.
It's not terrible.
For a 70s show, it's probably great, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, what?
I personally, when the first one came out, I thought it was kind of fun.
Like Ang Lee?
Yeah, but then growing older, I mean, I was pretty young when I watched, but then growing older, I'm like, wow, this is not that great. So I liked the Edward Norton one better.
Okay.
Up until the most recent Marvel ones and everything.
And Daniel.
I don't know. I would probably say Thor 3, I like the Planet Hulk thing they kind of, fooled around with and flirted with. And it was fun, and it was the Hulk as a character, but not Professor Hulk, right? Like, it was still the Hulk as you would expect to see the Hulk, but he kind of had his time to shine in the spotlight, where he wasn't just angry all the time. He was, like, actually a character who had, like, a motivation and desires and stuff, and I thought that was cool. And I thought it was fun. Like, I know there's a lot of mixed feedback on Thor 3, but I liked it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's just a little teaser for us saying that we're going to be rewriting, or at least seeing if we're going to rewrite, The Incredible Hulk from, 2008?
It was right after
Iron
the
Man.
Iron Man.
Yeah,
movie.
2008. And I would like to preface, we will most likely be throwing out some spoilers for either this movie or other Hulk movies, so if you're not cool with that, skedaddle.
We're gonna smash it. Smash.
Yeah.
Not gonna bang on the table.
Okay, cool. Okay, so let's get a little bit deeper. And Daniel, tell me your thoughts about The Incredible Hulk, the 2008 movie.
Okay. So I won't lie. I won't lie to you guys. I'm not gonna do it. All right. I don't think it's good, and I haven't seen it too many times. Like, I've seen it a time or two. I kind of glanced back over it a little bit before we did this, but I'm not super experienced with it as a film. I don't think it's good. It's just kind of hard to get through. I don't like it.
Okay. And James?
For me, I think, I don't know, it's got a lot of really great, amazing actors in it. There's some really, actually some really beautiful shots and cinematography in it. Kind of rewatching it a little bit, I'm like, oh, that looks really good. A lot of just the camera movements and stuff, even when it's just plain dialogue, they're just talking. There's actually still some movement and stuff, so it keeps it visually interesting. There's some really pretty parts. But then, yeah, you're right. There's a lot of just kind of hokey, cheesy stuff that you're just like, why?
Like the whole thing
this
when
kind of messes it up a little bit, yeah.
like the whole thing when he jumped out of the plane or whatever, or is it a
Well, they did that
helicopter?
in Thor Ragnarok too, though.
No, yeah, but
He jumps out off a building. He yeets.
It's out of a
himself off
helicopter.
in the
or a
end,
plane,
right? Yeah, because he's they're taking off and
And he's like,
leaving
"Oh,
or
crap."
something, right?
Yeah.
And he's got to turn into the Hulk, and him and his girlfriend, I forget her name.
Liv Tyler.
What?
Betty Ross. Liv
Yeah,
Tyler,
yeah. She's there too, right? And he's like, I have to stop, is it Abomination? Is that the villain? Yeah. And she's like, don't do it. And he's like, I have to. It's the only way. And she's like, you don't even know if it'll work. And he's like, I have to try. And then he just jumps out. And the scene, he like plops against the ground, right? And like straight up dies. And then,
Yeah.
and then like from there, he turns into the Hulk. But like, that's kind of just a dumb scene, right? Like, it's funny and it's entertaining, I guess, when he just like hits the ground. And like, you're right, he does do that in Thor 3, right? Like, he does jump out
Yeah,
of
but
the
it's
ship.
okay in Thor
Yeah, but,
Ragnarok
like, it's
because
better.
It's better.
Yeah, it's a better movie, I think. But I don't know, it's just a series of dumb shots, right?
Shots.
Yeah.
I feel like there are like some kind of dumb plot devices and things in it here and there where you're just like, why are they doing that? What happened? But I love like how I love a lot of the action, and I think is good in it. The movie really makes him feel strong and fast and
Kind of,
like a
really
very
monstrous.
powerful character. So they do good with that. They do well with, like I said, a lot of the visual stuff. I love like a lot of the stuff when they're in Brazil and stuff. I mean, personally for me, because I lived in an area like that where it's just stacked houses, and I always thought it'd be really cool to see. And then they did it, which is awesome. But yeah, then there's a lot of dumb stuff where you're just like, why are you working in a dangerous factory where it's loud and noisy and stressful? And why, I don't know, why does his girlfriend randomly go to this spot where she's going to run into him magically?
Yeah.
All sorts of
there-
little things like that.
There are some very questionable things. I will say, I think the CG, I thought it was going to be a lot worse, how I remembered it, but honestly,
It
I
holds
think
up okay.
I think it holds up pretty decently.
All right.
They light it very strategically, I think, and keep a lot of him either shadowed or like very harsh lighting, which is very flattering for CG stuff.
It's not till like where they're at the college and they have like the
Yeah,
big fight with the
Just
military where
like
he's
broad
actually
daylight,
Yeah.
and it's a little iffy there, and you're like, okay.
But they were smart about a lot of the other
Yeah.
stuff, man. I think it's decent. It's decent.
So let's go for some of these rewrites. What are you thinking, Daniel?
Okay. So my ideas are less based around like the MCU Hulk, right, from 2008. I'm more concerned with like making a good Hulk in general, right? I think there's like two ways to do that. I feel like the issue with the majority of Hulk stuff, right, is Hulk as a character is bad, especially in the beginning. Let me explain. I don't
People
mean
might kill him for that.
no, I
These are
don't
some
mean.
bold
Hang
claims.
on. I don't mean he's like not interesting or he's not cool or he's not a good protagonist all the time. I just mean the Hulk in the beginning, where he's kind of just a monster and he's destroying stuff and he's fighting the army and the military. Like, that's not necessarily, he's not a character there, right? Like, Bruce is a character, but the Hulk is kind of just green guy that smashes stuff. And I feel like that's kind of why there's never been a good standalone Hulk, especially one that's based around when he's first becoming the Hulk and he has no control of it, right? Because the Hulk himself isn't a character as much as he is just this like force of destroying stuff. So I feel like if you want to make a good Hulk, you could either, kind of do what the MCU did with Spider-Man and a little bit with Hulk and Avengers, because no one remembers even, the 2008 Hulk by today's standards in the MCU. Like, they basically reintroduced the character in Avengers 1.
But
right?
without telling his whole origin story.
Yeah,
all
yeah.
again,
So you could do that, and introduce the Hulk kind of through other films that tie into it, and then once he's established as a character with more control over it or whatever, then you could kind of give him a standalone, right? That's like one way around it, and then you could have it be more based around the Hulk. And it'd be interesting because the Hulk at this point is a character, you know, as opposed to just green guy who smashes things. The other way around that, if you're like, well, you know, we want a standalone Hulk that doesn't like lean too much on other films or, you know, whatever you want to say, like, I get it. That's a respectable opinion. So in that case, I think what you should do, if you're more concerned with his origins and stuff, then you should base the movie more around, you know, Bruce and the human side of things, and have it be, you know, a drama or like a psychological human type of film, right? As opposed to high flying green guy attacks things, you know, because like I feel like the parts of the Hulk movies we have so far that are interesting are about, you know, Bruce and Betty Ross or whatever, right? Dealing with the fallout of these issues, or like the effects of these issues that like Bruce is going through being the Hulk and the army and the military and all these people. And like, yeah, you could still have a few like Hulk scenes, right? Because it is the Hulk and you have to, or, you know, it wouldn't be the Hulk anymore. But I don't know. I feel like the Incredible Hulk and Ang Lee Hulk and all these stuff, like, it focuses too much on let's make the Hulk this spectacle of look how strong he is and look how fast he is, and oh, isn't this a cool scene? Look how tough this boy is, right? Like, no one really, I'm not saying no one's here for that, but it gets old, and there's no real I don't want to say plot, because there's definitely like plot that comes out of that, but there's no real
It's not as compelling.
growth, and and it's not compelling. You know, give me, you know, a human story that I can get behind, where I'm concerned for Bruce and I'm concerned for these people, and all of a sudden, you know, it could be a better film, and it could be a dramatic film. It doesn't have to be all action, right? So that's kind of the direction I'd want to take the series in if I had the chance, you know, like
Okay.
rewrites.
Okay.
Yeah.
James, what are your thoughts on a rewrite for this film?
Right. Well, I actually really love what Daniel said. I'm not gonna like compete with him too much on that aspect of it, of focusing much more on Bruce and like the psychological aspects of it.
Okay.
Because that is, you're right, that is like the compelling part of it all. Whereas like, you know, watching the action and the Hulk smash things and be this tank is fun. But there's got to be like a balance of things going on with all of that action and fun that actually make the movie interesting. So my thoughts are kind of similar. That we focus a lot more on Bruce, on like the psychological aspects that he's going through, and the fallout of everything of becoming the Hulk and having to deal with all of that. So I'm thinking that for my Hulk rewrite, what I would do is definitely really dive into like the complex traumas and issues that Bruce has, that fuel like all these alter egos of these different Hulks. Because looking
Okay.
more into it, there's all these different kinds of Hulks too that kind of manifest
Yeah.
themselves. And some of them are just going on in different Marvel universes and stuff as well. But just kind of as I researched more and more into it, because I'm not a huge Hulk fan, like I don't know all the lore and stuff, but I wanted to look into it a little bit.
Yeah.
But Bruce has got like some serious issues. The man is like
Yeah,
messed up. He's got like all these traumas
He was
of
abused as a kid.
yeah, his abuse. His father like murdered his mother basically, and then he's got like all of this like guilt and shame of being the Hulk and causing damage and pain and stuff to other people, which is gonna exacerbate it and make it worse, right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking for my rewrite, we focus on that. We focus on Banner, who's pretty much peacefully coexisted with Hulk since, you know, Infinity War and Endgame and everything. He's been Professor Hulk. He's been Smart Hulk this whole time. But I'm thinking like maybe he starts to experience some pushback from the other side of his psyche a little bit, that he starts, you know, having memory loss and, you know, all these dangerous repercussions of where he might be shifting into like this savage Hulk again and not really having any control. So I'm thinking that if we want to keep it within the Marvel universe, and everything and what they've done so far. Maybe Bruce goes, he knows that the only person that can really help him tap into that mental, emotional link that he has with Hulk is maybe someone like Doctor Strange. So I'm thinking he goes to Doctor Strange, convinces him to help out, kind of like enter this mental plane, this psychological plane, and help him like deal with these traumas and things that are going on with him. So
Okay.
Doctor Strange, you know, sedates him however he would do. he, you know, kind of
A la the-
tranquilizes, tranquilizes the Hulk a little bit. Puts him into this trance-like state where he can enter into his psyche then. So then we can have this whole trippy Doctor Strange like visual feast like they
Yeah.
did with his first movie, but still have like a human aspect of it, of him going into Banner's mind.
Of like a man conquering his fears.
Yeah, and helping him or experiencing these different sides and memories of Banner and stuff as well. Whether Banner's going along with him or not, I'm not sure. I imagine that he would just kind of be there in his own memories and stuff like that. It's not so much like a Christmas Carol where he's walking around with him.
Like kind of like
thing.
I don't know if you've seen Days of Future Past, but
Mm-hmm.
Ellen Page's character is like hovering over
Yeah, yeah.
Wolverine's mind.
Yeah, so I was imagining something like that where Doctor Strange has like his crazy symbols and stuff and he's like holding over his mind, or he puts him in like a huge what are they called? Like,
Sensory
like the
deprivation.
sensory deprivation tanks or something, and puts him to sleep in there, and he's just kind of like over him, going through his memories and going through these different realities that the Hulk has going on in his mind there. So while he's helping him deal with all these emotional and mental traumas, he's gonna run into these different versions of the Hulk in his mind too, I think. I mean, there's so many weird versions of the Hulk, honestly. But there's like these super weird, like Joe Fixit Hulk, who's like this 50s gangster kind of
The Grey
guy,
Hulk,
the
yeah.
Grey Hulk. There's like these apocalyptic Hulks and world breaker Hulks, and ones from the future, and these
There's like
like
a monk
the
one.
demon ones that are like, yeah, from like hell and stuff. So if Doctor Strange is going into like these twisted aspects of his mind, he could even run into like these weird versions of the Hulk and have to deal with them a little bit. So it'd be a cool way to like show viewers all these weird, crazy, different styles of Hulks.
But still keep it contained.
Yeah, but still keep it contained, so it's not just like, oh, here's a
Here's all these
multiverse
other-
that
yeah.
no one's really gonna understand if you're not like deep into comic book lore. So my rewrite would have two sides of it. That side, Doctor Strange dealing with everything on like a mental astral plane, and then on the outside, an actual villain who has been the one that's like triggered these problems going on with Bruce Banner, who is able to release Hulk's body from Doctor Strange's trance and basically sets him loose to rampage, because Bruce and Doctor Strange are in his head, and this like unhindered Hulk can basically go
So you-
rampage with nothing holding him back.
So they're in the sunken place. Wow.
Basically, yeah. They're in the sunken place. Hulk's body is going like crazy, being controlled by someone else, who I'm thinking would be like MODOK. I don't know if
Okay.
you know who that. He's basically like this big brain head, weird looking
Brain boy, yeah.
Yeah. Or George Tallerton, I think. He's like an AIM technician. When I was looking into it a little bit more.
Just someone who's not big and
Yes.
gray and anti-Hulk.
Yeah, he would be really the antithesis of Hulk, because he's like this crippled, decrepit little thing, but he like wants the Hulk's power and invulnerability without Banner mind being there. So if he could take his super intelligent mind and put it in a Hulk body, he would be like invincible and practically immortal, right? So that's how my rewrite would basically go, having it going on those two separate planes. Doctor Strange dealing with all this emotional and mental trauma, trying to unravel Banner's past and unburden his mind to regain control of Hulk before it's too late. And then you have all these other heroes that are struggling to combat MODOK and this like gamma emitting world breaker Hulk that's going on the outside.
Okay.
And can Doctor Strange and Banner regain control of him in time to stop him, sort of thing. If that makes sense. I know there was a lot of information to like
I
throw
mean,
out at once.
that was-
I had it written down
It
a
was
little
well
more
thought out.
succinctly,
It was
but-
cool. Yeah. Both these ideas sound pretty wicked and pretty great. So let's throw some numbers on the board and give me your thoughts. Daniel, where would you put the story of the Incredible Eight? Where would you put the story of 2008's The Incredible Hulk on a scale of 1 to 10?
Let me think. I mean, story or plot? They're just same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. The story, I'd probably give it, 7, maybe.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, 7.
James?
I'm a little bit lower than that. I'm probably about a 6 or so. I think they do pretty well with kind of wrapping up the origin story, how they just kind of montage through it in the credits. Pretty smart like that. But then after that, it's kind of just the same plot as the one before. It's just Bruce and Betty and
Yeah.
General Ross against one another. And so there's not really much different or unique there for me.
Okay. Cinematography?
I think I agree with James. He talked about it a little bit. I'd give it an 8, I think, on cinematography.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you on that. I think it's about the same for me, probably about an 8.
Okay. Cool.
Some really visually very pretty shots and good ideas. Some smart moves for him.
Acting.
I don't want to go high again, but I mean, probably an 8.
Okay.
Probably, I don't,
Yeah.
2 8s in a row.
I'm pretty close to that too. I was
Yeah.
thinking like 7.5 or so.
Edward Norton. I mean-
Edward Norton's amazing. Tim Roth is freaking awesome.
Love that guy. Liv Tyler.
Liv Tyler, I forgot the general's name. I just said it a minute ago. William Hurt.
Love you, William.
William Hurt is freaking awesome in it. I mean, they're all really great. I think Liv Tyler's maybe a little bit lower up on the prestige scale of that, but she's got some really good moments too.
Okay.
Like where she's like shouting at her dad in the tank and stuff.
Yeah.
Always like a heartbreaking part of it.
Okay. And finally, the score.
I'm gonna go a little low on the score and give it, I think, like a 5, just because, like, I mean, there's not anything in the score that really stands out to me, right? Like, it's good, I'm sure.
generic
Like, yeah, it's
movie
just
music.
generic. Like, there's not anything great about it,
James?
So 5.
I was thinking a little lower. Like, yeah, I really don't remember much of a score at all. I kind of just remember Hulk screams the whole time in gunfire. So probably like a 4 for me. There's just nothing memorable about it at all. I don't
Okay.
remember a single note of music in that.
Okay. So, Daniel, full rewrite, no rewrites, somewhere in the middle. Where do you land?
Score is still better than Halloween's score, by the way.
That's what I'm talking about.
Full rewrite, I think.
full rewrite?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, again, I think for what they had at the time and for what they were trying to do, it was okay, right? Like, they did the best they could with kind of, I think, the plot beats, they settled on or whatever, like what they were trying to go for. But I think as a whole, there's just, ways you could improve on that. And I think you just kind of got to scrap the whole thing and start fresh, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
James, full rewrite?
I'm
No rewrite?
somewhere around there too. Maybe not completely full rewrite, because it still gives us a little bit of backstory. But I mean, yeah, they had just made Iron Man. They didn't really know what they were doing with the whole cinematic universe just yet. They're still kind of getting a handle on it.
With your pitch, are you saying like kind of remove this movie
I'm thinking
and put it like more so now?
maybe not a completely removed, but more like how they did with the old Spider-Mans, and they were like, the origin story, just kind of forget that we did it, it's sort of thing.
Okay.
And just, with mine, I'm kind of trying to place it in what they've already got going on at the moment. So I don't know how applicable that is to the 2008 Incredible Hulk, but
Replacement rewrite.
sure. if that makes sense.
So put it in like the MCU now, you mean?
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
more what I was thinking of.
Like,
Drop it in like
rewriting,
after Endgame.
Like
Yeah,
post Endgame.
rewriting his story within the MCU rather than him just being kind of this side character for a lot of it.
Okay.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I mean, just to add a little bit, like the MCU at this point, today is so open with like what you can do, right? I mean, because they've kind of done everything at this point, right? Like they've had stuff that's like been completely based in New York, right? And they've had stuff that's been completely in space, right? And they've had things that have kind of gone all over the place. I mean, there's not like a single genre in the MCU anymore. I mean, they all echo each other, but at the same time, you can kind of throw anything out in the MCU and it will stick at this point, or like, people in general will just be like, I mean, all right,
Yeah, it's
because
the
they've
MCU.
Squirrel Girl, why not?
yeah, and like they've done so much, Now, I think if they were to go back and make a standalone Hulk with what they have today, they could just do so much more. I mean, the resources alone, to make a MCU film have, improved so much, I mean, I think
Yeah.
it's smart to hold it off for a bit
Yeah.
and kind of approach it now and maybe just kind of, even forget about the whole 2008 thing, in my opinion,
Yeah, I think Universal made that one.
Yeah,
by
it
the
was
way,
partnered.
wasn't even in Disney's hands completely yet, and now they could do so much with it.
Okay, so we're gonna take a quick break, and then we'll be right back, and we will be reading a scene we wrote for either James or Daniel's new pitch of the Hulk movie. So stay tuned.
Exterior, late afternoon, evening, almost deserted New York City street. It's a gray and dreary day on the New York City streets. Our view of the rainy street pans over citizens rushing to get out of the sudden downpour and eventually rests on a tall but unassuming Greenwich Village townhouse. Unassuming except for an iconic round window displaying the symbol of the Sorcerer Supreme. Rain continues to pour down over dark umbrellas, and footsteps of those passing by splash in a puddle reflecting the placard of 177A Bleecker Street. Thunder booms ominously as a massive, monstrous boot splashes into the puddle in front of the doorstep, scattering the reflecting address. Interior, sanctum lobby. From inside the sanctum's entryway, an enormous looming figure fills the door's windows and knocks loudly, threatening to rattle the door off its hinges. The clattering knocking continues as Dr. Stephen Strange hurries across the foyer to answer. Boom, boom, boom.
I'm coming.
He finishes tying the strings of an aged exotic house robe around his waist and continues to the door. Boom, boom, boom.
I said I'm coming. I'm compounding on your door in the middle of the night. Hard to wake up the whole neighborhood.
He swings the door open to confront the giant silhouette banging on his door, only to see a suddenly regular-sized Bruce Banner, soaked from head to toe, panting heavily and leaning against the doorframe.
Dr. Banner. Come in.
He supports Banner across the threshold, slowly by the arm. He glances back out into the rainy night suspiciously before closing the door behind him. Interior, library. Banner sits in a large red leather chair. Dr. Strange carries in a tray with an antique teapot and cups. Strange pours his wet and shaken friend a steamy cup and hands it to him, setting the tray on the table between them before taking his seat in an identical chair across from him.
Have to say I've gotten rather used to seeing you the other way. It's a little weird having you back down to normal size.
Well, you are the resident expert on weird.
Banner glances around the room distractedly. He sips the tea and holds back a puckering face from the bitter taste.
Good tea.
Strange smirks and gets up to retrieve sugar from a shelf table behind his chair, turning his back on Bruce for a moment.
Really, it's a fascinating story behind the teapot. There's a dimension just adjacent to ours where I met a demon called Duluth in a rather bizarre game of baseball.
Strange is cut off by a loud thud and the tinkling of lamps and antiques as he turns back to see a suddenly fully transformed Hulk seated where Banner was before, still holding a comically small teacup in one hand and awkwardly trying to push aside a light fixture from hitting him in the head.
Dr. Banner, is everything alright?
He cautiously approaches the Hulk.
Yeah, I guess you could say I didn't come by for tea. There's been some minor incidents and something just isn't right. The other guy is seriously pushing back, different from before. I could use some professional guidance.
Well, I was a surgeon, Bruce, not a therapist. I don't know how much I can help you.
No. It's the weird kind of help I really need right now, Steven.
All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed that bit. We had a lot of fun making it, so please stay tuned for more stuff, more videos coming at you soon. Just a few closing plugs. Please follow our social media, our Twitter, Instagram. We'll be having a Reddit soon. Rewrite Official Show. We'll be throwing our artwork on our Twitter and Instagram.
Follow, support us on our Patreon.
Yes,
So we
please.
can continue making great content.
Grow.
Speaking of great new content, definitely tell us in the comment section below what you would like to see us remake.
Or how you would
rewrite.
remake.
How you would remake the Hulk movie yourself. Yeah. Definitely love to know what you guys think.
And if we have any gaping plot holes or stuff that we missed, please call us out.
Yeah.
Throw a lot of hate our way.
Yeah, and like just stay involved, like subscribe as we said.
Smash that bell notification, bro.
Yeah, and like send us, a tweet or whatever you want to do. We'll try to respond to it, and maybe we like what you say. I mean, we don't know everything.
Or maybe we'll hate it.
Yeah.
Maybe you just want to see
Maybe-
more of Daniel's Kelso face.
Maybe you guys are just dumb. I don't know.
That's a good way to keep an audience. Call them dumb. All right, guys. I'm Trent,
I'm James.
I'm Daniel.
and we'll see you next time.
See you guys.
Bye.
Goodbye.